Welcome everyone to this section of the podcast. It's called Dre's Market Corner. So you want to take it away, Dre?
All right, let's go. So since we're talking about technology and the way it advances, one of the main reasons for this advance that we're seeing right now is linked to the stock market, some way, some shape, some form. So let's take a look at it. Overall, you guys know I'm the stock market guy. I love it. I love learning about it. So we just want to take a look at a couple things. This is the S&P 500 index. As you can see right now, it has made a new high. Year to date, we're up 12%. And this is one thing I'm very strong about is understanding how impactful the stock market could be while this thing continues to turn up. And we're only halfway through the year, which is amazing. It's up 12% for the year. Let's take another look at another index. One of my favorites is the Nasdaq index. Now, if you've been following me, follow me, Dre Inc. or Dre Money, Dre Money Mind Resources on Instagram, on TikTok. You can find me anywhere there. But the Nasdaq index is an index that predominantly holds technology companies. And right now, you can see we're up 14.5% year to date. So from the beginning of this year to this current date, we're up 14.5%, which is really good returns on a whole. And then I want to just take a look at the price of Bitcoin. And the reason I'm very interested in Bitcoin, like the technology topic we've been on, is that this seems to be a great asset class. The crypto asset class seems to be a great performing asset class thus far. So for the last year to date, you could see we're basically at 42,000 for a coin. And right now we're up at 71,000. So Bitcoin's been running, it's been the best performing asset class for the last, I believe, 2 years. So it's something to keep an eye on going forward. Now, disclaimer, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research and reach out to a professional advisor. All information presented is only for informational purposes. So in order for us to get to chat GPTs and to get the robots and the AIs, you need what we call semiconductors. And I want to talk today about one of the biggest players in that space, NVIDIA, but we will also touch a little bit on Intel and AMD. But the evolution of semiconductor, and if you don't know what it is, essentially it's the chips that are in our phones and our tablets and our in any type of electrical device that we use today. It is powered by semiconductors. And for the most part, I want to just give everyone a brief history because I know a lot of people are just talking about my DMs are flooding with NVIDIA. Should I buy? Should I buy? Should I buy? And I'm just like, guys, I've been saying buy NVIDIA since 2022. Like, let's just be real about that for a minute. But I want to give a little brief history because a lot of people are investing in these companies and they don't really understand. So the three biggest players in the US right now is Intel, NVIDIA, and AMD. Now, years ago, Intel had the throne for the semiconductor space. And over time, they got complacent. And what that allowed to do is for NVIDIA and AMD to start taking away the market share away from Intel. Intel was no longer investing in the research and development. They were no longer looking to be competitive. And that was the biggest mistake that the management team made on Intel's side. Now, what happened was NVIDIA was focused a lot on the GPU segment, so the graphic processor unit segment. That's, what makes our TVs look really nice when we're watching stuff or playing video games. They took over the high-end clientele from Intel when it comes to GPUs. So if you're looking at the NVIDIA stock, it's a lot more expensive than the rest because the products that they bring out is a lot more expensive than the other competitors. And what AMD did, they more focus on the CPUs, the CPU side of things, and they took the low-end clienteles of Intel. So they were eating up Intel on the top and the bottom lines for over the past few years, where they now have surpassed Intel. And that's why two of the biggest companies in the semiconductor space is NVIDIA and AMD. So just a little bit on the rise of Intel, we can see, when it was founded, the innovation that they were known for were microprocessors. And they had as you can see, they had a market dominance in the 1980s, 1990s, and the early 2000s. But then, you know what? NVIDIA came and ate their food. It was not a joke. They came, they did their thing. Right now, the stock is doing wonderful numbers. A lot of investors are so happy because of what's happening with this technological boom. I've been saying for a very long time, this is the time for us to build wealth. And I've been preaching since 2022. People need to start investing in the stock market, start looking at the semiconductor spaces, start looking at the dominant players within those spaces, right? So for NVIDIA, we could see right here, um, the innovation, like I said, is the GPU and the focus on graphics processing. But however, like compared to Intel, they did not settle. They went into AI, gaming, data centers, and data centers is one of their biggest profit margin services that they provide to other folks. When everyone wants to go on the cloud and do all their businesses like Amazon, Microsoft, they need data centers. And data centers is only going to continue to grow over the next decade or two. And they're also in the automotive sectors. For those who did not know, their chips were in Tesla's first before Tesla started producing their own chips. And the current status is the market share and leadership in AI. So right now, the CEO Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, he's known as a godfather of AI because they've been advancing their technologies for quite some time. And you can see the different sectors that they're in. They're in architecture, automotive, gaming, global public sectors. They're in robotics. They're looking at smart cities. So all their chips, and they're looking to bring out a new chip every year going forward, which is phenomenal. But all their chips are in different industries. They're looking to shake up the whole world of technology. And like we said, I'm excited for the future. I make the joke. I'm like, soon we're gonna have robots as butlers in our homes. And if I gotta pay 20,000 to have a robot do my laundry and do my dishes and mow my lawn, please know I am paying $20,000 to get my robot. So
Nice.
right here, and one of the most important facts is that we want to look at the historical history of NVIDIA and its performance. So on the right side, you're going to see, we can start, and it's absolutely nuts. And this information is from bar chart, but year to date, at the time when I made this, it was up 135%. The last 2 years, 522%. Look at the 5-year mark, it's up 3,000%, and the 20-year mark, 67,000%. Now that is what we call a
Wow.
great investment, right? So these are the things I want people to start focusing on. Now, we have something coming up very soon, which is the NVIDIA split. I believe tomorrow should be the last day, the June 7th, in order for you to purchase the stock for the split to happen. So what is a split, you may ask? Well, the definition is when you have each existing share of the company stock is divided into 10 shares. Now, the reason it's 10 shares in this example is because NVIDIA is performing you own one stock. On next Monday, I think that's the 10th. On the 10th of June, you will no longer own one stock, you will own 10 when the split happens. Now, that doesn't mean you have more money in your account. The same amount, the value of the share that you have will be the same. So a lot of people are asking, well, should I buy before or after the split? Honestly, it doesn't matter. The reason it doesn't matter is because nothing is happening to the company, nothing is really happening to the stock. They're just making more shares available so that retail investors like you and I, who can afford $1,000 for one share, can now pay, whether it's $100, $110. I think right now it's at $1,200. So if it does a split, the stock will be trading
120,
at
yeah.
the stock will be trading at $120 on Monday, most likely. So essentially, they're just increasing the number of shares, and the shareholder value, the overall value of shareholders remains the same, but the number of shares they hold increases by 10. So if, for example, if a shareholder has 100 shares priced at $100 each before the split, after the 10-to-1, they will have 1,000 shares priced at $10 each. So the math is the same. It doesn't change. It just makes it more affordable for retail investors like ourselves to be able to invest. Now, finally, actually, no, we have one thing. So a lot of people are saying, well, should I buy before? Should I buy after? Is it going to go up before? Like, at the end of the day, we don't know. All we could do is take historical context and see what has happened to different companies. And this specific example is companies that have a market cap greater than 100 billion. After they split, what has happened? So ideally, you can see some of these were negative after 2 weeks, some were negative after a month, some were positive and negative after 3 months. There's a good bit of here negative after 6 months. So to answer the question, should you buy before or after? It's 50-50. We don't know if NVIDIA is going to go down after the split. We don't know if it's going to go up. Right now, at the pace that it's on, it seems like it's going to go up. But at the end of the day, if you're a long-term investor, rather than trying to get in and out very quickly where you could potentially lose money if the stock pulls back, I would continue to buy small amounts over this time or a decent amount over this time rather than put everything all at once because the stock has been running hot. And NVIDIA is the type of stock that could pull back 40 to 50% in like 2 days easily. Right. So that's just something you want to keep in mind. But me, I'm all about long-term investing, buying and holding over the long run. So even if it does pull back, you buy some when it pulls back, and then you continue to enjoy the ride for the next decade. But here's the best part, and I hope you stay to the very end, a treat here. I'm giving some price targets for NVIDIA based on the charts that I was looking at. So one of the first target I'll be looking at is if right now before the split happens is basically between $970 to 960. After the split is $97 or $96. That's the first target. Second target will be 870, 865 before split. After split, we're looking at $87, 86.5. That's a good area to start getting a little bit more involved with this with your cash in NVIDIA. And then the third target where me personally I'm hoping it gets to so I could go quite heavy on it is between 695, $690, or in this case, 69.5, well, basically $69. So if it gets to 70, 69, 68, I'm looking to buy more. That's going to be quite a discount. The first target will mean it's a 17% discount from the time of when I looked at the last chart. That would be a 17% discount. The second target will be a 25% discount, and the third target will be a 40% discount. And that's how I like to look at stocks when they pull back. I like to look at it as buying at a discount as opposed to, well, it's just going down. No, this is discounts, my boy. This is
Yep.
discounts.
Yeah.
But that's it. I just wanted to give
Wow.
a quick run through on NVIDIA. I could do one on AMD. I could do one on different companies that I'm very interested in, but I love the semiconductor space. It's one of my top positions right now. They really outperform, and if you want to find out more, follow me, Dre Inc. on Instagram, or you could type in Dre Money Mind Resources. You'll be able to find me. And well, I want people to prosper when it comes to the stock market because this is a company I've been researching for quite some time, and I'm very excited by the way it's been performing.
That was amazing, man. Thank you
Fantastic.
so much. That was
That's
good. I would
fantastic.
just one question before we move on to the next sections. Thank you so much for doing that. I learned something today. I'll be
Hmm.
curious to see, maybe this will be another episode or maybe off camera. With this market share that they have, who are some of their maybe potential competitors or like the smaller scale competitors in the similar space, or maybe people on their supply chain since there's such in demand. I'm just curious personally what that would look like. But maybe we can talk about that another time. But yeah, that was very informative. I appreciate that.
That was fantastic.
No worries. So just to answer just briefly,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
are
yeah.
small competitors that are coming out in the chip space, like a lot of companies in China, but
Mm.
on the bigger scale, there's no one close to NVIDIA right now. It's funny, the CEO of NVIDIA and the CEO of AMD are actually cousins. So when they started taking share away from Intel, it to me it was like a family thing. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. Say
It
less.
wa-
Say
they
less.
they're like, okay, you take the high end, I take the low end. So that's why
Yeah.
I like when both of these are in my portfolio because I understand that one, their leadership is phenomenal. The one thing that Intel started to do, Intel's still trying to be a competitor, but they're far behind. But the one thing Intel, it looks like they're going to do is understand that AMD and NVIDIA, what they do is they design the chips. They don't produce them. So when they come up with their designs, what they do is they outsource it to a company called Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM.
Yeah.
TSM manufactures the chips for them because the manufacturing process is very, it takes a lot of money and it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So what Intel is doing, because Taiwan Semiconductor is located in Taiwan, Intel's like, you know what? We might be getting our butts kicked by AMD and NVIDIA. Let's pivot our business model. And they're now trying to transform themselves into a foundry. So they will be the ones trying to produce chips going forward. And I like that move for Intel because they're such a big company. What they did, they got a lot of funding from the Biden administration, like billions and billions of dollars, in order to allow them to transform themselves into a foundry, which will take some time, but it looks like they're going in that direction. And if China ever, God forbid, invades Taiwan, that will be a problem for the chip space. So that's why America's more banking on having American companies become more dominant in the chip space and not too reliant on companies that are located in Taiwan or elsewhere.
Mm.
That was good. That makes
Wow.
sense. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
we'll definitely we'll pay attention. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next market corner. That's good. Okay, I think before we wrap up, we got a couple of minutes here. We're just gonna do two sections, and we're gonna do rapid fire. Each one just answer those sections. So the first one would be the NBA finals predictions, just like basically your, who's going to take it, how many games. We'll do that. And then if you have any book or podcast that you've been listening to recently, just drop the name and then we'll try to rapid fire in like 3 minutes here. So, Quaker, do you want to start? Predictions, NBA.
Mavs in 6, I'll say. I
Mavs
hope.
in 6.
Anybody but Celtics. That's just me. I hate them. I hate everything about them.
I'm talking to two Lakers fans there, so I think I know what you're gonna
Yeah,
pick.
And an Eagles fan, so
Yeah,
anything but the city of Boston.
I say Mavs in 5, to be honest. Like I don't believe in Jason Tatum. I don't believe in the Celtics. Like they suck. So they got a
okay.
cakewalk to the finals. That's just what it is.
Okay.
Facts.
I would say Mavs as well, but I think it's gonna go to game 7. I think
7.
Celtics
Yeah,
might try something, but I feel like Mavs still gonna get it.
well, Celtics are up 20 now, so who knows?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
game 1, so that's the one that's gonna
Game
edge it
one.
over. But I think Mavs still gonna take it.
Mhm.
20, that's crazy, it's wild. But yeah, no, it's good. Okay. Also, any book, podcast you've been listening to the last couple of weeks here?
So because of my long ventures to work, like I drive a lot every day, I'm currently listening to audiobook Hero on a Mission.
Okay.
So I just started that. It's by Donald Miller. One of my friends, I'm in a mastermind group and he sent it in there and he's like it's like he said it changed his life on his mentality. So it's basically at least the beginning of the book thus far is like having a victim versus a villain mentality and how to combat that. So I'm early into it. I'm still reading my book Simple Wealth, the formula for wealth. Wait, was it? I keep butchering that
Arithmetic
name.
or arithmetic of wealth.
No, it wasn't
Arithmetic of wealth or
arithmetic.
something.
The
Isn't it
formula.
arithmetic of wealth? Something?
Isn't it
Yeah.
formula of wealth? The formula of
Something.
wealth. Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
keep
Yeah, and
butchering that
I know what
name.
you're talking about.
God.
Yeah.
Um,
It's been a long day.
yeah.
Yeah. Kweku,
So
you? Oh, sorry.
no, that's it.
Yeah. Right now, no. Most of what I'm but the what I am interested in is a book, and I have to get the details of it. I actually got it from a wellness symposium, and it just talks about the path to happiness and what it is that people need to do to understand true happiness. It's a Japanese book, So it's just
Okay.
about evaluating your life, looking at what you're doing, and how that relates to actual happiness.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And then the one I'm just trying to wrap up here, I got 30 seconds here. The one I'm looking, it's called 10x is easier than 2x. And it's like how world-class entrepreneurs achieve more by doing less. Essentially shifting how you do work and think about how to
Ooh.
essentially leverage. Very good book. Someone recommended it. I just started. I can't put it down. So yeah,
Ooh.
we'll
Yeah.
maybe the next couple episodes we'll talk about some of the details of these podcasts or
Mhm.
some of these books we're reading. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's it, everyone. That was a good episode number 2. So it's a third episode, but it's episode number 2. You do
Mhm.
the math. We create our own math over here. Way the money at a podcast. But it was great. I think it was good. We got to connect here. Looking forward to more of these. Thanks, Dre, for the market corner. I'm looking
Yeah,
for
that was huge. That
those.
was huge.
Yeah, next couple episodes. That's gonna be great. That was I found it valuable, and hopefully our
Mhm.
listeners found it valuable as well. But yeah, again, anyone listening on all the platforms, feel free to share, like, subscribe. We are out on all platforms, and we're looking forward to catching you on the next
Like.
episode. Like, share, and subscribe. Take care, everyone. Take it easy. Cheers.
Easy.
Peace.